The cancellation thing is actually a really good example for anything software related, any website, anything. Whatever hoop that the person has to jump through, first of all, don't make them jump through a hoop to do something that's going to hurt your business. Because then all you're basically saying is, I've just made it so difficult for you to stop working with me that I'm hoping that whatever, you just give up.
I was on YouTube looking at like old music videos, all this stuff, whatever. Well, all of a sudden I see a thumbnail of our CD. It was uploaded 6 months ago. 15,000 views, 30 comments. Every single comment was like, dude, this band is ripping. Like, where did this band come from? Like, do they have stuff on Bandcamp? Just going through, I'm like, dude, am I in the Twilight Zone right now? This is literally from 2002.
Why don't you just comment on that and say, hey, this is Jay, the lead singer of the band that you guys are all raving about.
I did.
Welcome back to another episode of the Who Cares podcast. I'm Jeff Jackel.
And I'm Jay O'Brien. You know, me and 6 friends went and saw Boys in the Well, which we talked about, a month ago or something. 25-year anniversary of Opposite December, one of the greatest hardcore albums of all time. They headlined the show. They're, pretty rusty, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, dude, hearing the singer, it was like, oh man, he's so out of breath and like just can't sustain at all.
They're probably old now. No?
Yeah. I mean, this was like the first night of the tour, and I'm like, there's no chance he makes it through this tour, man. He's got to do that every night. No way. They headlined. Glassjaw opened for them, which that was the best that Glassjaw's played since 2002, I think, that I've seen them. They were phenomenal. So lots of just like old hardcore stories and stuff like that, friends from high school and this party bus going to Hollywood and just what we were listening to in the car and all this stuff. So anyway, I was on YouTube looking at like old music videos, all this stuff, whatever. Well, for whatever reason, I'm like, I'm going to type in my old hardcore band.
For whatever reason.
Well, no, we never had anything on. This is way, way, way back in the day. Like, there's no reason anything should be out there.
Okay.
Put it that way. Okay. Like, we had CDs, but that was it.
Okay. So this is not one of the bands that you just put on repeat to try to gain views or listens.
If I could, I would, and now I will actually.
Yeah, sure,
So I type
in instructions.
So I type in Azalea hardcore band or hardcore music, something like that. And okay, here's some other bands that are called Azalea and whatever. All of a sudden, I see a thumbnail of our CD uploaded, and it's the entire album. And I'm like, whoa, what is this? It was uploaded 6 months ago.
Okay. Is it an old bandmate?
No, it's no one I know. I don't know how they got the CD or anything. There's 15,000 views on the video.
Of one song?
No, it's 5 songs.
Okay.
There's 30 comments, and I'm like, oh no, dude, I'm about to get destroyed on like my self-esteem, like, like, oh, this guy's voice fucking sucks, like whatever. Every single comment was like, dude, this band is ripping. Like, where did this band come from? Like, do they have stuff on Bandcamp? Do they have other albums? Just going through, I'm like, dude, am I in the Twilight Zone right now? This is literally from 2002.
I have so many questions.
These comments are from the last 6 months. Okay.
Did you wait to tell me this on Who Cares?
I kind of thought I might have already told you.
No. But so when someone's seeing this and finding it, does the description say? Do they know that this is 20 years old? Wait, what did you say?
Yes, it says 2002. It says 2002 in the title or like
okay.
when the album was released.
Okay, so they're not like, what the heck? Is this a new band? Is this
no?
Okay,
and so they're like, please find more of this. Like, let me know. And you just go. I'll send it to you. And I'm like tripping out. So I had to reach out. I only knew James's number, like was one of the band guys.
Okay.
I was like, dude, do you know Tony's number? Do you know Robbie's number? Like, let's try. And we're trying to get phone numbers to connect the
reunion.
So I put them all in a group thread, and I was like, you guys are never going to believe what I just found. And I sent it to them, and they're like, dude, what? It is just the weirdest, most Twilight Zone experience ever.
It'd be great if one of them was like, well, yeah, of course I know. I check every day.
Yeah. I mean, this is like just, this was so long ago.
All right,
well, way before anything streaming or whatever.
We're putting a link below. So now,
yeah, dude, let's get
15,000 to 20, 30, 40,000.
Yeah. I mean, I can't get 15,000 views on anything, even the podcast.
I mean, maybe.
So here we are.
That's great.
Why? What's new with you? What's shaking, Mr. Jackel?
I'll probably do this every episode for the next 4 weeks, but you are almost exactly a month away,
Yeah,
5 weeks ish from being a dad.
I was doing some real like Miller Lite dad shit over the weekend.
Drinking Miller Lite.
Well, anytime you do work around the house, you have to like just find a shitty beer to drink while you're doing it. It can't be like a good beer, nothing like that.
Not that Miller Lite's not great.
Nah, but I mean, it's got to be like a piss beer.
Okay.
So anyway, so there's like a standard bedroom closet in what will be the nursery.
Yep.
And there's like built-in shelves, and like the bar and all that stuff that's in there.
Like one shelf with the bar okay.
Yeah. And so I was like, I got to rip all this out
Because
I'm going to put an IKEA like closet system in there.
Got it. Okay.
Maximize the space.
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
So
just so that baby clothes are this big and they don't have that much of them in the beginning. So like you could probably do 1/5 of the closet and you'll be fine for a year, 2 years. But sure.
That may be true.
You get the whole thing done.
So get it all done. You know how I roll.
Sure.
So basically, this podcast episode serves as an announcement that I will be going back to being a hardcore vocalist in a metal band, as well as laying drywall. So this has been fun. The work has been great. But that's it for me. That's signing off.
You know how we know that's not going to happen? Because you don't lay drywall.
This is bullshit.
Like a bricklayer or
Sure
like
you do.
laying flooring.
Install drywall.
Yeah. You can put up drywall.
All right. Countdown begins. Baby girl coming May 30th on your birthday.
Woo! Yeah, it's a good thing no one's listening because we would get so much. You'd get a lot of mail for that. Mail? Wow. That was such a good clip. Clip that. I don't have the equivalent of like fun. I've been playing a lot of tennis.
Oh, good.
I've been playing a lot of tennis and I am, I feel like we've talked about my wardrobe a lot in just 12 or 13 episodes, but I'm doing a major revamp. I'm doing a major like mass exodus at the house.
Now you're getting rid of shorts, pants, polos, sweatshirts.
Yeah. So far.
Hats.
Yeah, I do need it all.
Speaking of hats, tonight we're going to go over consumer hats versus business owner hats.
Is that the whole reason you just did that whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, dude, you set me up for it.
Yeah, you and your transitions. You got the dad humor down before being a dad, which means that I think it's either going to get worse or it's going to get drastically better.
It's definitely going to get worse.
Yeah.
How do you know when a joke is a dad joke?
It's usually got a pun.
It becomes apparent.
Did I send you the thing with the Kenny Loggins?
Of course you did.
Okay.
Forwarded the shit out of that.
That's a dad joke. Today, we are going to talk about the importance as a business owner operator of taking off your business owner hat and putting on your consumer hat, or one of these, little Michael Jackson.
Well, okay, so what does that mean?
What it means is most business owners, operators think about systems, processes, procedures in terms of the owner, in terms of the company, in terms of like managing profits, managing your P&L and whatever. So they're basically like making decisions or doing things that might be right on paper, and they fail to see that they might feel awful to their customer.
Yeah, basically, long story short, as a business owner operator, you're constantly doing things that point back to the business. Me. Look at my logo, look at my brand, look at like constantly have your guard up. Will this make sense for our bottom line? But if you approached every single situation asking yourself the question, would you be receptive to this as a consumer, which you are, would you still move forward with that decision? Yes or no? And in a lot of these situations, people don't operate that way. So this is really like a challenge to anyone who runs a company. It's like, what do you look at your internal systems, look at your policies, look at all these things or whatever. Do they actually make sense and feel good on the consumer side? Would you be your own customer? And there's lots of examples that we have for this. So should we start off with like the really shitty ones?
There's levels of this where you're making a decision as a company and it just feels awful. So
here's an example. Maybe we've even said it on the podcast before. But let's just say that we walk into some random like wireless carrier that rhymes with Malizon. And I say, hey, I saw this commercial because it's 2006 and I'm still watching commercials. And it said, hey, I could come in and get a free phone and I want the new iPhone. And they go, unfortunately, that's for new customers only. I'm like, no, I get that, but I've been paying my bill on time every single month for the last 25 years. So I want the free phone too. They're like, no, you can eat shit and die. Pay full price. That is a very normal new customer promotion only thing across so many different verticals that if you were to ask yourself as a consumer, does that feel good? The answer would obviously be no. Now, lots of these things happen for a reason. Obviously, like acquiring a new customer is very, very profitable. Now they're in our ecosystem. They're sticky with the phone. Like, so we'll fork out money just to acquire them, whatever. I get that. But optically, how does it look? How does it feel to the existing customers? That's the challenge here is like, take a look at what it feels like to the people who are already running your company, and if that is truly the best representation of your company or not.
You mean the people who are already customers of your company?
Yeah.
And it is very important that we preface all of this with, we're not dum-dums. Of course, we understand why these companies are doing these things to acquire a new customer, like you said, and that, they view that as more valuable, et cetera. But what ends up happening, especially like in that industry, is people just start trading customers back and forth. Like there's a lot.
Exhibit A.
I'll say it right here. And by the way, I think Schmermeisen has altered their take on this. They're tweaking this.
I know a lot of them are actually.
Yeah, but also they will right now. I'm not even in. I'm in for like a little over a year with a different company, and they will do this exact same thing and bring me back. So it kind of like ends up being, I guess a win-win for a win-win and a lose-lose, whichever way you shake it. But so I think of another example that becomes short-sighted because there's some of them that aren't that, I don't know, advertising heavy. Like that's something that you do that's a catch. That's a grab new people, do advertising, free phone. That's why people are doing that. But like we were talking about earlier about hotels or you could probably talk about with Airbnb, but like a hotel charging you for an early check-in or a late checkout or whatever it is. And that we understand, yes, they have to have a turnaround to have the rooms cleaned and there's a necessity for this. And maybe there's only, I don't even know how they do it, truthfully. If somebody knows, write in on this, but maybe they have a certain portion of the rooms that are automatically early cleaned if somebody gets out early so that they can have those available. But if you're the consumer and you just got off of a red eye and I've had this happen so many times in New York. I used to always take the red eye east. You just, oh my God, I just want a room. And you want to try to like charge me $75 in this moment where I'm like, feel like death. Just feels awful. And how many people actually take up that, take the hotel up on that in a given month? What kind of revenue could that possibly create? $75 a time or whatever it is. It's instead of saying that like, we're going to give all these things away for free, or we're in the phone example, maybe that's just not a promotion that you run. Maybe you figure out another way to do it because just knowing that it feels shitty to not have that available for your existing customers.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because if you were to ask the hotel why you're being charged that, I'm sure the reason wouldn't even align. Like if they're like, well, we need plenty of time to turn over the rooms or whatever. Like, so I don't get it. Do you need the time or do you need the money?
Do you have to pay the people more?
Yeah.
You have to pay the people more to clean the rooms earlier?
How is this making sense? Or remember when you'd have to quit the gym?
Yes.
And it's like
cue the 15-second clip from Friends. Right,
you got to quit the gym. You got to
quit the gym.
You got to go in the gym. You call to cancel. Like, oh, you got to come in to cancel. Like, why are you creating this unnecessary friction? Is it because I'm just going to give up, let it keep going, and then like your company is going to skyrocket from all the people that just slept on it? Like, is that how you want to win? And are you even winning with that strategy? It's just nowadays in our relationship economy, you just can't win that way anymore. No. And a lot of companies have come around to bettering the customer experience, but all in all, it boils back to what we were saying, which is put your consumer hat on. Would you be receptive to this? If the answer is no, why are you doing it?
Yeah,
as a company, and that can be extrapolated out to why you're blasting your logo on all kinds of bullshit, like tote bags and mugs and all kinds of garbage.
The cancellation thing is actually a really good example for anything software related, any website, anything where you're trying to You're trying to cancel, you're trying to do whatever with a payment, whatever, and there's nothing on the website to be able to cancel. It's like you have to call a service in order to do that. And then you get on the phone and it's like, you're waiting online for 30 minutes or whatever it is. And that people, you brought this up earlier, people have started to do the, well, could we call you back?
Yeah.
You're just making it, a lot of this boils down to making it easy or efficient for the customer. So whatever hoop that the person has to jump through, first of all, don't make them jump through a hoop to do something that's going to hurt your business, right? Like,
yeah,
because then all you're basically saying is, I've just made it so difficult for you to stop working with me that I'm hoping that whatever, you just give up.
Yeah, just give up. Yeah, like a winning scenario is just complete apathy.
What's the opposite of love is not hate? It's indifference.
Yeah.
So just like, yeah, we're just hoping that you're like,
we're hoping that this lands with not like, oh, passionate or full, it just that it lands with it's fine.
Yeah,
that's where we hope it lands.
Which also in a review society, all you're going to do is end up with that. You're just going to end up with people being like, and then I tried to cancel. And can you believe what happens when I tried to cancel?
Oh my God, I've got the best example for the consumer hat, business owner hat.
What?
So Ash ordered DoorDash the other night, and the driver, like, she just placed the order. Like 5 minutes later, this process is just beginning. The driver texts her and says, "Hey, can you give me a 5-star rating?" And she's like, "What? Like the job's not done. The job hasn't even started."
She placed the order, doesn't have the food, and 5 minutes later, the person asks for a 5-star review.
Yes, like, hey, I'm X amount of reviews away, or like I have low reviews, I want high reviews. Like basically, just straight up and ask before anything was ever done. And so it was like, "Can you do this?" I'm like, "What the hell? That's kind of weird." She doesn't respond. 5 minutes go by. He goes, "I need to cancel." And I'm like, there's no way this is real. And so like I grab her phone, I look at it, and I start communicating with the guy, and he's like, "There's like a really long wait at this place. I could have gotten 2 more orders done by now or something. By the way, it's been like 10 minutes or something."
What was the guy's reviews? Like, I want to know, because I want to know whether it was one of those two scenarios, because if they're bad reviews, this is why.
Right. But so what I'm saying is like, and this is a little off topic, but like the quid pro quo thing, like you do this, I do this. We talk about with the closing gift in real estate all the time. Like you bought a house, I get you a bottle of wine. Or like you referred me a deal, I'm going to buy you this. Yeah. Like all these kickbacks, all this stuff. It's like, I kind of see what you're trying to do here. It's cheapening the entire thing. It's very stupid. But when you really put the cart before the horse, where you're like, can you give me the nice thing before I do the nice thing?
Yeah.
It was the most wild thing I've seen. It was crazy.
I've never heard anything like that.
Yeah. And by the way, the dude ended up canceling. So it's like the weirdest experience.
Can she rate him if he cancels? Or can she now not rate him?
I actually don't think you can rate them because the transaction never took place, which is one of the biggest mistakes with Uber too. Because like, they find out, where you're going. I wanted a longer ride or whatever. They cancel on you, and you're like, dude, what the hell?
You can't report someone. You can't rate them. You can't do anything if that happens.
I think you can like report to the company or something like that.
Uber and DoorDash. Come on, guys. I mean, you need to figure that out. But I mean, that's a good example. In those businesses, they can be easily policed really quickly, and you're also, in both cases, you're also relying on someone else to deliver the type of service that you hope that you're.
Well, with Uber, remember they put that thing in place where they're like, hey, if you cancel after 5 minutes, like we're going to charge you. We're going to charge you $5 or whatever because
for the consumer.
So I'm like, hey, that should go both ways. I'm sitting here for 10 minutes, and all of a sudden, boom, they canceled. Like, and there's no repercussions. No way.
Yeah, there's a long line.
And again, that's at the Uber, the company level, where it's like, consumer owner hat, business owner hat, like make it the same both ways.
Yeah. So another example we talk about where companies need to, or business people need to take off their business person hat and put on a consumer hat is when something goes wrong, something goes sideways. Do we already talk through this? No? I don't know where they did, but basically like the idea that it's not enough to make a situation right. You used the example earlier of like someone brings out steaks to all 5 of us. Yours is cooked incorrectly. It's worse if it's overdone. I don't know whether they can just go back and fire up. Whether it's overdone, they got to start it all over. And if they just they're like, oh, I'm sorry, sir, I'll bring you another one. Well, now the rest of us are eating. You're sitting over there like a schmo. You're telling us, oh, it's okay. Go ahead and eat. You get it 20 minutes later, 10 minutes later. The meal, not ruined, but not great. And if all they did was bring you the same steak the way they should have brought it the first time, that doesn't feel good.
Yeah, it's like if someone sends something to you and it arrives damaged, like, oh, we're sorry, we'll send another one. You're like, got it. But getting back to net zero isn't the goal. It's not to get back to the promise that I already paid for that was supposed to be delivered way back then. You got to at least do that part, but then you got to go one step above that.
Yeah, you also don't know whether that person needed it for something that was specific at that time, and that's why maybe they rush shipped it, or maybe it was supposed to be there that day. Like, you could have fucked someone's whole world up by this whole thing, and you're just like, oh, I'm sorry, we'll do it again.
Yeah, so
we'll try again. That's a good way to say it.
Consumer owner hat, business owner hat. In the restaurant world, you see it all the time. You have a terrible experience, and they're like, dude, wow, I can't even tell you how sorry I am. Here's 25% off for next time you're in. You're like, I'm sorry. I just told you I had a terrible experience. You're like, look, next time I'm going to discount that shitty experience. You're like, how is this making sense to you?
Yeah.
It's not making any sense to me.
What did I just say? We'll try again?
Yeah.
All right, we'll try again.
No, I liked it. I liked it the first time too.
Okay. But you just typified it. They're literally saying like, we'll try again and we'll give you a little tiny discount in order to come back. You're like, no, let me be clear. I'm not coming back. The moment where your steak was messed up or the thing was arrived damaged, whatever, let's use the steak is messed up. The moment where your steak is messed up and I've made a bad experience for a customer. A lot of companies with the business hat on will then, like we said, we'll try again. They're operating from the perspective of the relationship with you, starting with when you bought the first steak, right?
Yeah, right.
So they're basically saying like, okay, well, we'll just do it right this time. That's the wrong way to think of it. Like, we're already here now. You fucked up.
Yeah, that time is long gone.
Yeah, that time's long gone. So from here, how do I win you back, basically? How do I start from here and do something really, really good? And we've already talked about, I think, on here, how if we have an experience, let's say at a hotel or wherever it is, and you have a flawless experience and I have like a little hiccup, but they make it right and go above and beyond, I will rate the hotel better than you will having a perfect experience.
Right.
So if business owners and operators can start viewing that messed up steak as like, here we are with an opportunity. I've already lost, right? So now it's my business to like win, right? Like right. I have now an opportunity here instead of just like, oh, well, we'll try again.
Yep.
That's a whole different...
There's opportunity for contrast. Whereas like if things just go smoothly, there is no contrast. It's just like, that's why people will rate things higher, because they're like, oh, something went bad, then it went really good. Oh, wow, I can see this like big change versus just things went smoothly. So that actually makes me a little indifferent. It's fine.
It's almost crazy to think like, I don't know why I've never thought of it this way, but if I just go and get you another steak, it's almost as though I'm not recognizing that I have a disappointed customer.
Right.
I'm just moving back in time 20 minutes and trying again.
Yeah, 100%. And it happens all the time. All the time. And in companies all over the place. I don't know if this is a little too vulgar for this, but have you seen that Curb Your Enthusiasm episode?
Which one?
Oh my God. It's like in the first season where Larry is tasked with putting together an obituary for Cheryl's aunt in the newspaper.
I don't think so.
And it's supposed to be like, survived by this person. She was an incredible, like mother and beloved aunt or something like that. Well, instead of aunt, the copywriter puts a C instead of an A. And so they get the newspaper, the family gets the newspaper, and they're outraged, and they're like, oh my God, Larry, what did you do?
And he wrote it right?
And yeah, he's like, no, I put it correctly, and so
A-U-N-T.
But let's say like an example like that, it'd be the equivalent of like the publisher being like, oh, no worries, we'll do another one with the A.
We'll reprint it.
We'll reprint it with the A. And like they think that solves the problem. It's like, no. You don't see that you made an enormous mistake that you need to make up for. You don't just do the thing that you were supposed to do.
Yeah, it's literally like pretending it never happened.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
It's exactly like pretending it never happened.
Yeah, it's kind of a show of force.
It is. So other examples of this things that aren't so ridiculous are are like in e-commerce, for example, making things really hard to return, right? Like the idea is, oh, well, returns really hurt our margins. So like we're just going to make it really difficult for them to return. They bought it online. They got to come into the store to do it. You can't send it back or whatever. Versus the consumer feels like I have the freedom to return something if it doesn't work for me. I feel comfortable working with them again.
You allow that elasticity. So they're like, oh yeah, like I'll buy 5 things, I'll return 1. Next time I'll buy 4 things, I'll return 2. And next time I'll buy 12 things and return 5. Like, I mean, you're going to keep growing with the company in the long run because you trust them. But there are brands that I've purchased from where not only are the returns hard, but everything is store credit always. So when that happens, you're like, this is never netting out at zero. Every single time I return anything, it costs me more money.
Yeah, because I'm never going to end up with a perfect number here. It's never going to like...
No matter what, think about that. Every single time you return anything, it will cost you more money every time. So it's like, at a certain point, I want to kind of get to break even and then just stop buying from them.
Yeah. It's like Audible. I'll never get there.
Yeah. True. Yeah, no, these are great examples. No, this was a lot of fun. Okay, I like this. Now, I would like to make a couple requests. Now, I haven't seen our numbers, but I would like to. So, first and foremost, if you listen to this, because I have been caught by surprise, not like an Azalea surprise, that was a real surprise, but there's been a little bit of surprises along the way where people in person are like, oh, hey, I've been listening to your podcast. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Wouldn't have known. I don't know. Maybe they are commenting and stuff, and I just don't know. But like,
it's not just that. I meant to tell you, we have somebody that we work with, a very large partner, and somebody in the organization that I was messaging with said, "Hey, I don't know what you're doing, but you're doing something great with the algorithm on LinkedIn because I can't log in without seeing some of the content you guys are creating. It's hitting me every single time." And I'm like,
"You're like, dude, you're still. That's my login."
No, it's real.
Okay, good. Well, anyway, here's the request. The request is, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or whatever it is, just real quick, take 10 seconds. 5-star review, even if you don't think it's 5 stars, just do it anyway.
I don't think that exists on Apple Podcasts, but...
It sure does.
Oh.
You write a review, you give 5 stars, and you write a little something. And the best reviews, we'll read them. Let's read them.
Read them out loud.
We'll read them out loud.
On
yeah,
air.
We'll call you by name. But that would be great. That's the only ask. That's it. That's all. Nothing else.
So on YouTube, I want questions. I want comments.
I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the 15,000 over at the Azalea audience, and I'm bringing them over to the Who Cares podcast.
Why don't you just comment on that and say, hey, this is Jay, the lead singer of the band that you guys are all raving about.
I did.
I did. Oh my God, screenshot it, put it up, please. What did you say?
I did.
What did you say?
I said I was the singer of this band. Thanks so much. I don't know how you got this, but thanks so much for sharing this. This has been a lot of fun to revisit this.
Also, go check out Who Cares.
And I hadn't listened to that EP, dude, for I don't even know how long, because again, it's not on Spotify or anything.
So let me be clear. You did not say, now go listen to the Who Cares podcast. You're like, I'm way less cool now.
No, I said go listen to Champagne Boulevard, and then it was crickets after that.
23 years later, I'm way less cool. So here I'm screaming on
Still
stage.
on stage, but just talking instead of screaming.
And now I'm talking about being good to people, okay? Like, Screamo.
Even though society did me wrong.
Screamo to emo.
Ooh, okay, there it is again. You heard it first here from Mr. Jeffrey Jackel.
Like, subscribe, hit the bell, do the stuff. See you next time.